All right, hello everyone. Welcome to our Goodwood Day One Antepost preview. We'll be looking at the Goodwood Cup and the Lennox Stakes. And those who have followed us for a couple of weeks or a few weeks now will know this formula that we're going to do, where we run through every single horse that's racing in the Goodwood Cup and the Lennox Stakes, and we assess their value at the current odds. So today is Wednesday the 23rd. We've just had the 5-day decks come through, but actually we've got 6 days of anti-post betting. So plenty of time for the markets to adjust, but we will talk about their prices as of now. We'll give their prices, and then we'll either say they are hugely unattractive, neutral, attractive, and very attractive. It might end up being quite colloquial along the way, but please do comment what you think as well, whether you think some horses are very unattractive, whether you strongly disagree with us or agree with us. It is always good to hear from you. So yeah, before we get started going through the horses, Daniel, a quick word on the ground.
Yes, thanks, James. Yeah, those of you who followed us since we started this probably know I'm a bit of a ground obsessive. It so often informs my choices. And for the purposes of this podcast, my assessments of the value of the runners will be based on the likelihood of fast summer ground. Now, it's good to soft in places as I record this, but we're still in the height of summer. And looking at the various weather forecasts, a little bit more rain today. Then we've got high pressure moving in. I see very, very little rain for the next 5 days. Now, weather is changeable and forecasts can change. So were there to be unexpected sort of storms moving in that changed the ground, what we say, certainly what I say in terms of my assessments of value at this place, would look, very different, indeed wrong, if it was suddenly turn up soft. Yeah. You can check out pretty much everything I'm going to say right now.
Yeah, perfect. So let's keep our fingers crossed for firm ground then, or else there will be aircon faces. And we will start with the Lennox States, and we'll start with a horse that everyone is going to be very familiar with at this stage, and that is the ever-reliable Kinross at 7-2. So this will be the first time he's ever won this race were he to win, and that would be the first time that a horse has ever won it 3 times. Do you think at 7-2 he represents value to go and do it again?
What an admirable animal this is. The answer to your question is reluctantly no. I'm against him at the price. His figures in this race, 4 seasons running, are 1, 2, 1, 4. The 2 1s were with the letter S in the going. The 2 was a couple of years ago when it was good ground. The 4 was when it was good to firm last year. And with fast ground likely, even though he ran, despite being the age of 8, even though he ran right up to his best last time on the figures, more or less, I don't think he represents any value at this price. So no, I'm unattractive.
Yeah, but certainly one to keep an eye on if the rain does hit. We know, as Dan has spelt out, essentially, we know how much he loves it. Maybe not quite got the pace he used to have on good ground over 7 furlongs. Might find a few too quick, especially a few on the front end who prefer faster ground. Jonquil.
Sorry, James. Just the other quick factor in the mix there, I forgot to mention as well as the ground, that this is at the moment, at the 5-day stage, this is a huge field, 17 horses. Now, maybe quite a few will come out, but you'd be pretty sure it's double figures, and it might be as many as 12, 13, 14 horses. And the more horses there are, the more the luck in the sort of more luck in running the hold up horses need, and that would include Kinross. But it's true for the others as well, but it's another factor in the mix.
Yeah, Goodwood's certainly a track where you can run into a lot of trouble. Many a hard luck story comes from the Goodwood Downs, Sussex Downs. Next in the betting, we've got Jonquil at 9-2, a horse that we have both liked quite a lot this season and were very disappointed by in the Commonwealth Cup. He's back up to a trip that he has won over, a new breed, 7 furlongs. Don't really understand why they are so persistent with dropping him a trip. If I suppose, Field of Gold would be the potentially obvious answer to that. But 7 furlongs, Jonquil, been a bit messed around a bit. Do you think at 9-2 he represents any value?
Well, in terms of his price across the market, I mean, 92 with a couple of bookmakers is a short 3-1 in places. I'm absolutely gobsmacked. I'm quite surprised. No, I don't like the messing around. I don't like the 12th place, 13th place in the Commonwealth Cup. It was almost too bad to be true for all that he was dropping to 6 furlongs. He might be good enough to run well, and perhaps he can win this. But I want no part of him at all. No, at this price, like you, I'd much rather have seen him over a mile at Ascot, despite his stablemate, a certain stablemate. That's why they didn't go there. But 7 furlongs is better for him. But yeah, no, he's been messed around, and I'm not having him at the front of the market.
Yeah. It's a horse I'd probably end up, despite quite a negative intro, being neutral on, as his form is potentially, it's by far and away the best of the 3-year-olds. That Henry Matisse form in the French Guineas is really, really, really top level.
Agreed.
So I would be hesitant to lay him or put him into the lay categories, but yeah, neutral Jonquil 92. The next horse, at the end of last year's race, if you said he'd be 6-1 for the race this year, you'd have been fairly surprised, as he won in pretty sparkling fashion. He's a horse that loves good to firm ground, and it looks like that's what he's going to get, and that is audience. The issue he might have is there's a couple other horses that like to go forward here, in Spy Chief and Jonquil. Whether Gosden sends both Spy Chief and audience forward, I'm not sure, but might not get it so easy this time, and his form coming into the race looks a little bit questionable. But even still, with last year in your memory, how does 6-1 sound?
Yeah, he's got other front runners. I don't think Spycatcher. I think Spy Chief will take him from the same stable. I doubt they'll get them to cut each other's throats. Yeah. But Quinn Altar, or however you pronounce that horse's name, is another absolutely dyed in the water runner. So he's probably not going to get it easy up front. I cannot go less than neutral on this guy, and I'm almost thinking on a win-only perspective, 6 is bordering towards the attractive, on that there's a big chance that he's just going to fold and not fancy it, which is what he does sometimes. But, and he's had 3 bad runs in a row. But last season he had those 2 extraordinary runs, which were absolutely top draw, but winning the Lock-Inge, beating the likes of Charon and so forth. Everyone said, "Oh, it was just got away on an easy lead." I mean, how often can they say that about him? Did he get away on an easy lead? Timeform seemed to think he did in this last year, but I mean, he won by 3 or 4 lengths. What's more, he was carrying a £5 penalty. It was an absolutely exceptional performance. So if he's going to get his ground again, and he's back here again, and he fancied it on the day, I think he'll win this. Now, the question is, I don't know if he will or not. I don't think 6 is an unfair price to find out. I took a bit of a slightly larger price a couple of days ago, but 6 is still very fair, neutral to almost attractive, but would be the worst each-way bet in history, given his program. On each-way betting, sorry, just briefly, this race is all certain to play 4 places, surely. So we'd be reluctant to give out any each-way bets at this price. More than at this stage, more horses than we thought would run when we wrote that article a couple of days ago.
Yep. So yeah, audience of mild interest at 6 is certainly more interest than disdain. Lake Forest, a horse that Quinn Altar actually beat us last time out, has disappointed this season, having won a very valuable Group 1 over 7 furlongs in Australia. He is probably a horse that will benefit from a lot of pace on the front end, but will also require luck on running. And again, he's one of these horses that on his day is a high-class, very high-class horse. So at 7-1, would he be another win only as opposed to each way selection, or what do you think of Lake Forest?
No, the 2 horses who've thrown a few sort of stinkers of runs recently, I'd far prefer audience. This guy's thrown in 3 bad runs, and he's the one I don't want at 6. No, he's unattractive. You stop the clock after his Australia win and some of those excellent form from last season, second in the Commonwealth Cup and so on. You think, okay, you've got a really progressive horse on your hands. Why 3 times in a row has he run badly? I mean, with audience, we know it's like if he fancies it or he doesn't. But this one has suddenly become not just inconsistent, but completely out of form. And I don't know where it's gone, but I won't touch him at 6s. Hugely unattractive, I'll go.
Hugely unattractive. Okay, wow. Remember that, everyone, when Lake Forest goes.
I liked him for the Queen Anne, so maybe it's just I'm just bitter.
Yeah. It could be. Yeah. 6 or 7's too short for Daniel. Noble Champion is next in the betting at 8. Are you slightly more positive on him?
Yes. Yeah, I am. I don't know quite where that Jersey Stakes win came from, but it was emphatic. His previous form didn't seem to have anything like that in his locker. But Ed Walker said, this has always been one of the more exceptional performing horses in my yard, and that the Jersey, we either expected that or we were going to have to geld him because we know there's more there. So he thinks it's another massive race. I actually didn't expect him to run Noble Champion. He's since, as of yesterday, said he is going to run him because he disappointed Goodwood a few runs back, and he says not quite sure why. So he thought he might skip Goodwood, go straight to the City of York in a month's time. Been a complete change of mind, change of heart. Don't know why. So maybe that's at the back of my mind. But 8s, yeah, if that holds, this is the 3-year-old who really interests me.
Okay, interesting. Yeah, Jersey form fairly untested so far. Initial reaction would be to be quite skeptical of it, given it didn't look a particularly strong Jersey to start with. But will be very interesting to see how Noble Champion goes. The horse next in the betting was the horse that came second in the Jersey, Spy Chief. I think it was about 3 lengths behind Noble Champion. John Gosden, Godolphin horse, but as mentioned, are they going to run him the way he probably wants to be run, where he tries to make all with audience in there? Interesting at 20s a few days ago, at 12s less so. What do you think?
Yeah, we wrote up an article a couple of days ago, or maybe 36 hours ago, about a couple of these outsiders, and this was the first one at 21. It seemed much too big. He's got a very progressive profile. He's unexposed, and every race since debut is better than the last. And I love that when the horse is not just a good run, a bad run, a middling run. It's just better again. And even though he was only I'm afraid I haven't got that figure in front of me. Where was he in the July Cup? Was he 7th or something like that?
No, he's only about 3 lengths off.
Yeah, that was back to 6. I think he'd prefer it back to 7. That was an improvement on the ratings. And if he's back to 7, he prefers. I think he could run a big race. That said, I think it was value at 20s, and I don't at 12s. So neutral, bordering on the unattractive at 12s. I'll go neutral. There's more in this guy.
Okay. Yeah, neutral at 12s. Pabaris is next in the betting at 14s. I think his form is nowhere near good enough. Don't understand why he's a shorter price than Quinn Altar, and would be close to putting him in a hugely unattractive category. I can't figure out why he's only 14-1.
Got a possible explanation for that. This guy was put up by a tipster on one of the websites, not at the races, maybe Betfair or any one of these sort of formal betting websites, with that Antepost long-range pick, and Pabaris was the pick of whoever this guy was for this race about 2 weeks ago, maybe a bit more. And then he was 25s at the time. And then he came down to 60s. Now he's being backed again, and you've got single figures in places. It's amazing. And even 14s is hanging red. I don't get it. 2 back. This is what excited people. He got a really big figure for winning a listed race from half decent touch. He won it well. He was a couple of lengths clear, but that was soft ground. And then he regressed behind Quinn Altar. No, at this price, I'm hugely anti at that price.
Yeah, and the horses that he beat that day, I think it was at Firsk, have really disappointed since. And whilst the time might be good, the form isn't stacking up well. And Yeah, 14 is too short. Okay, Temp Bob Tony is next in the betting at 16s. What do you make of him?
I don't think this one will run. I think I read that he's in at the 5-day stage, but the trainer is waiting on rain and won't run him if it's fast ground. So I doubt his presence. We should point out that he beat Kinross last time out. But you know, that one had been off for ever so long, and he was giving Kinross was giving £5. So in a sense, you wouldn't expect him to do that. But there's still one clearly notable piece of form. But as I say, I wouldn't go near him. So he's unattractive, despite being a talented animal. Unattractive because I don't think he'll run.
Okay. Quinn Altar's next at 20s. Again, one of the horses that we like to make all. Won handsomely at York last time with Lake Forest and Pabaris in behind, as mentioned. It's 20s, therefore eking into the attractive category for this horse.
Not quite for me. In fact, I might go neutral. I might go, no, I think I'd probably go unattractive. I mean, my thinking about this guy is he's quite exposed now. He's had 20 runs or something like that. And admirable servant. He's won so many races, but handicaps, 2 listed. And last time out was his, great high point of his career. He won in Grade 3, but I think the likes of Lake Forest clearly didn't turn up. We're doubtful about how good Pabaris is. I don't think he's got a chance of leading this lot all the way. I don't think he's got upper air. I just can't see it. I really like the horse, but these are waters that are too deep.
Yeah. He's currently rated 112, but that's a slight outlier, normally rated from sort of 105 to 109. And you'd expect if one of the horses at the front of the market turns up on their day, he will find it very difficult to beat them. Witness Stand would be slightly similar thinking in terms of the fact that the form probably just will not be good enough.
Yes, but with this one, neutral and sort of nudging into attractive territory. It's a course form thing. He's got 2 really impressive Goodwood runs on his CV. He won one of them. I know this is when he was a handicapper. But the other one, he was second, again a handicap. He was getting a stone to Quirat, Quirat. You know what I mean? Yeah. That was eye-catching performance. The fact that those 2 runs both came at Goodwood, that catches the eye. So I thought this chap wasn't being declared for the 5-day stage, and had an interaction with one of our followers on Twitter to say that this guy actually was going to turn up, and indeed here he is at the 5-day stage. I was wrong about that. I thought he might want a bit of cut. If it comes up rattling fast, I still wouldn't be 100% sure he runs, and apparently the trainer says he will. But yeah, with that course form, I can't throw him out. If he remains a big price and they go four places, or even 5, so that's unlikely. It's exactly the kind of thing I might have a couple of pennies each way.
Okay, yeah, interesting. One that could potentially be overlooked in the market. Witness Stands when each way larger markets come out. So next in the betting, we've got Seagulls 11 at 33s. He hasn't really delivered on his promise as a 2-year-old, with his best performance coming last time out, where he was an okay second. Feels the shine has very much come off Seagulls 11, and 33s is probably about the right price for him.
Yeah, probably. I sort of, like many people, probably had my eye on this guy last season. I remember he had some smart 2-year-old form. The only thing I would say about that second last time is back to form. It was all second to Opera Ballo, who, sort of was all the talk before the Guineas, and then blew out in the Craven, and they just took him a quieter listed route. But since Opera Ballo has run 2 outstanding races, and they're now talking about him being Godolphin's candidate for the Breeders' Cup Mile, they really, really, really think this guy is smart, and they've got him to settle. So to be a couple of lengths behind Opera Ballo is not that bad form. So 33s, yeah, probably only fair. But what I don't really like here is the drop back to 7. I think he was staying on, on that mile. So I'm not sure about the drop to 7. So yeah, no, I wouldn't be backing, but probably only neutral.
Okay, neutral for Seagulls 11. Another horse that probably had their best form as a 2-year-old is next in the best, and that's Arby at 40s. So he was, I think, just about 2-3 lengths behind City of Troy in his Dewhurst. Since then, he was stepped up and tripped, and is now being stepped back down in trip to 7 furlongs. Do you think that will be the making of this horse?
No, he's been very disappointing in the last few runs after a really good seasonal debut, but that was on fast ground, so maybe that's what he wanted to get back to. If Owen Burrows can find the key to him, I kind of think 40s might look huge, but it's quite a leap of faith, isn't it?
Yeah.
And then the mind on the positive front, he was second to City of Troy, I think, in the Dewhurst, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And if you told me you could have the second to City of Troy in the Dewhurst at 40-1 for a Lennox, I think, wow, I'll give that one a second look. But he's been disappointing. He's lost the plot slightly, but if they were to get it back, 40s is huge. I'll only go neutral, I think, because of that back class.
Yeah, I didn't like that Dewhurst at all, and took City of Troy on subsequently to my mistake in the Derby, Juddmonte, and wherever else he went on to win. But those who follow the Twitter, and a good opportunity to sort of recommend following the Twitter and the emails, would have seen that we put up Iberian at 40s. I will hazard a guess that you're still in the appealing camp then for Iberian.
At 40s, yes, but the only thing I'd changed since writing that article is I wouldn't have a bet on him now, because this field is larger than I expected it to be, and you're going to get 4 places. And I think it's interesting as an each-way play. Yeah. So in a sense, I would say an each-way bet on him now is unattractive, and I would immediately flip that to attractive at 4 places. And it's only unattractive because you're going to get the extra place. Do you see what I mean? An attractive person. Standalone thing. Really good in the Camage Trophy earlier this season. He got lost as a 3-year-old after a promising 2-year-old career, but he had wind surgery, and he's got 2 really decent bits of form. That Camage, and 5th in the QE2, of the sprints. That was the one with Lazat and Satono Rev, world-class sprinters, and a lot went wrong for him that day. Got a bump out on the wing and so forth. I think it's a really good race in this horse, and it could all go horribly wrong again, but I think at 40-1 that really is a price you've got to find out. Wait until the 48th stage.
Yeah. So Ides of March is next in the betting at 40s. He promised quite a lot this season, was probably at one stage single figure odds for the Commonwealth Cup. Since going into Group 1 company, he is very much disappointed in the Commonwealth and the July Cup, and he's now dropping down in grades to this Group 2 level. I mean, this could almost be a Group 1. Will look a very similar field to the City of York Stakes, I'm sure. But 40-1, has he looked like he needs to step up in trip?
I don't know. They seem to have sort of lost the key to this horse. But I mean, standing back, if I were to say to you, you could have 40-1 about Aidan O'Brien's only runner in a group horse at Goodwood. You think I was pulling your leg, wouldn't you? It's unbelievable. But the reasons are his form figures this season: 2-2-0-0. The second to Whistle Jacket, perfectly fine seasonal debut. Second to Symbol of Honour, excellent next start. And then nowhere in the Royal Ascot Sprint, whichever he was in. I've lost the plot on this. Commonwealth Cup,
yeah.
And then the July Cup. He got a bump, but he was going out like a light when he got the bump, I think. So just niggling it away, it means that we've seen this movie before. I've seen an unfancied O'Brien one come back to form at a huge price. I'll monitor on Betfair. If he starts going to silly territory, then it's a couple of quid on Betfair, isn't it? But Ryan Moore on board, he's drift that far, is he?
No. Maybe one to back before the decks come in and we see Ryan Moore's name next to his name. Okay, we will blitz through the final 3. I suspect they're all going to be in the unattractive camp. We've got Balmacara.
He's a handicapper. What's he doing here?
Okay, nice. We'll move on quickly. Intrusively at 100s?
No. Same again.
Unattractive. And then finally, Nostrum, a horse that promised quite a lot with Michael Stout.
100-1 Nostrum. I cannot go. It's
what this might happen, yeah.
A cliff horse kind of thing. It's not a cliff horse, but I haven't backed it every time it's run. But I find it so difficult to forget how good a horse that was. Now with David O'Mara, who does sometimes find the key to horses and definitely often improves horses from other trainers, I don't think I'll be able to let this guy go 100 to 1 without backing. And I'm probably throwing my money away. But 100 to 1 is a big, big price for a horse. If he finds the key, which is highly unlikely, this horse could easily place. I know that's a big if. 100 to 1 is, a quarter of the odds. This is what, 20 to 1 a place. I probably won't be able to resist. I wouldn't recommend it. It's just my own weakness. But no, good to let go.
I agree. I would probably have him in the attractive camp. Concern again would be his best runs all come when he's made all in, and that's going to be incredibly difficult to do. But 100s, as you say, is very big. So, yeah, attractive for Nostrum. So that is a wrap on the Lennox. There is not a huge amount of hugely attractive so far. I'm sure if we re-recorded this when the 4 places were available, things may change. So for those that we've put up a decent mention for at their current odds, when there are 4 places and the same odds, I imagine you can upgrade the level of positivity that we hold towards them. And at the front of the market, Daniel was quite keen on Audience and Noble Champion, less so Kinross, Jonquil, whereas I was a bit more neutral on Jonquil. Anything else to add on the Lennox Stakes before we move on to the namesake of the whole place? Yeah. Okay, Goodwood Cup. We'll go straight into it. We've got Illinois, very short price favourite at 8 to 11. I was surprised to see him in this short. I know historically we always had horses like Stradivarius and Kyprios going off evens. Illinois is in at 8 to 11. Aidan O'Brien, Ryan Moore factor, probably he's unattractive at that price for me. I don't know about you.
Yeah, I mean, my default is that anything odds on in an Antepost market is unattractive, just like as a standalone comment, but that says more about me than Illinois. On the plus side, you just have to admire this horse. He's never been out of the 3, he hasn't been out of the 2 for an awful long time. Always runs to a high level, always turns up. So you've got that on your side. Top rated in all sorts of reasons. Second to tournament, the Gold Cup. But then that brings us immediately on to a negative, doesn't it? He had a hard race.
Yeah.
And that will go for other horses. We'll come on to in a minute. So in the back of my mind, at 4 to 6 is how hard a race was that, and how much did he leave out there? I know, it's been a decent break, but. And the other thing is, for all he's, utterly reliable, he's 11 runs, 7 defeats. Now, that's fine. He might be the best horse in this race, but with a profile like that, do you want to take 46? And do you want to take 46 in an Antepost market when he could tweak something? If you do want to back this horse, please at least wait. I'm going to go 1 to 3, but I don't. But yeah, no, he's hugely unattractive to me in the 5-day market, and even when he's odds on, even when we're 48-hour market, he's unattractive.
Yeah, we saw him. Well, I imagine the same story might unfold as unfolded for the Ascot Gold Cup, where he started out way too short and then drifted to a much more backable price as we got closer to the off. So currently unattractive for Illinois, but yeah, I suspect you'll be able to get evens plus on the day. So maybe want to wait for and reassess on the day. Frenchmaster would actually probably also have in the unattractive camp. I think this might be a connection-led price. The form is still handicap level, I'd go as far as to say, potentially listed. And I think 9 to 2 is doing a disservice to those longer than him in the betting.
I agree. I actually broadly agree. I'm probably only neutral though, and the 3 things I want to just say in his favour briefly. Well, firstly, he's a course winner, which helps. Won a good for whatever. The other thing is the steepness of his progression, of his profile. Every race better than the last, and we don't know where his ceiling is. And I'd just like to read out what Timeform wrote when assessing after the write-up of his last performance at Ascot, they wrote this. There's not much to him in terms of substance, and they mean size of the horse here, but he more than makes up for it in terms of talent, and it bears repeating that 2 miles will suit him to a T. Very much the type who could develop into a leading cup horse, which is where he is now, in a cup race. So the boys at Time Form, boys and girls at Time Form, are really impressed with this guy, and they think they can cut it at this level. I, like you, I'm sceptical, but only to the point of neutral. We don't know how good this guy is, but this is a deep race, and yeah, I'm not going to be pro him, not attractive.
Yeah, it's always found with the staying sort of
Division.
group as a whole, that whenever, division, that's the word I'm looking for. Whenever a new unexposed horse comes in, they are always sort of thrust towards the front of the market to a greater extent, from my liking. Just people prefer new, shiny, exciting, and the stayers are a different breed to that. They're rugged, heavy going, and tough. So yeah, 92 would lean to unattractive. Next in the betting is another one of these sort of shiny new toys, and that's Scandinavia at 7s. Whether he'll turn up or not, we don't know. Currently, Blue on Odds Check is suggesting that he may well do. But yeah, Scandinavia, do you think he's going to turn up, Daniel? And if you do, what do you think of his price?
Well, my strongest thought is that by calling him a shiny new toy, you've ruled out the possibility of an invitation to Ballydoyle anytime soon. I'm torn on this horse, and the main reason I'm torn is because I really, really like him, and I was wrong about him. And people will recall our assessment of
Queen Stars.
Thank you. I was against him. I wasn't convinced by his form, and I was lucky that he didn't do better. He ran 5th, but he was wide all the way. And he has since was up at Newmarket for the July meeting, and his Bahrain trophy, both on the Time Form figures and on the eye, was absolutely mesmerising. This is a rapidly improving 3-year-old colt going places, and they are super dangerous for this yard, for any yard, but perhaps particularly for this yard. In both of his last 2 races, he's improved a stone each race. That's very unusual. Now, he can't do that again. He proves another stone and he's the best horse in the world, kind of thing. So I'm not saying he's going to prove another stone again, but I don't see why he might not find another pound or 2. And actually, that's probably all that he needs if the Bahrain trophy was for real. Nighttime Dancer he beat him by the same distance Lambourne did in the Derby. I don't think there's any reason to, although Further didn't turn up, I don't think there's any reason to diss that form. So the key thing here is the price. What did you say he was? His best price 7s, isn't he?
Yeah.
I mean, my take on this price is if this horse runs, I think he'll crash in the betting. But I have not a Scooby-Doo whether he's going to run or not. So in a way, I could see, okay, I'm going to chuck a tenner on at 7-1 at Scandinavia and hope he's declared. Because if he is, he's got a massive chance and he'll be a much shorter price. And you might lose your tenner, but it would be quite an exciting high-risk play. So I'm borderline attractive, even though I have no idea if he's going to run, and I do not say that kind of thing very often, but I will for this guy.
Yeah. I mean, if you assume, I don't know, it sounds like you must be 50-50 as to whether he's going to run or not. And do you think he'd go off shorter than 7-2? I don't know.
Do you remember when we were discussing the Bahrain Trophy and we were talking about putting up Scandinavia at 9-2, and by the time we revisited the conversation, the market had known he was going not Galveston, and suddenly we found he was 7-4 favourites. That was the end. Yeah. I could easily see him going shorter than 7-2.
Wow.
Really could, and therefore Illinois would drift. Another reason not to back Illinois now. I'm not saying Ryan Moore will choose him. I wouldn't go that far, but yeah. Totally fascinating.
Yeah. So okay, well, I'll be willing to maybe put a wager on that I can't see him SPing shorter than 7-2 if he goes.
Will you lay me? Come on, let's do this on air right now. Will you lay me a tenner, a 7-1 right now, Scandinavia, and I'll transfer it to your bank account, my tenner, the moment we finish recording?
Yeah, sure.
It's in your bank account. You give me the afternoon.
All right, perfect. So I look forward to him being scratched on Monday. Yes. Easiest £10 I'll not have to sweat. Next in the betting, Sweet William. I know you're also actually quite positive on it, 8-1.
Yeah, but here you've got contingent. I'm contingently conflicted because my thinking of Sweet William is, wow, other than his last run, which was in a really fast run Gold Cup, 2.5 miles too far from him, so he kind of fell in a hole in the last couple of furlongs. His form below that, this one always turns up, 6 runs on the trot. His last 6 runs on the trot have been good enough to place in this. Plus, he run well at Goodwood. He's won once and he's come second to Kyprios. I mean, that's awesome form. So I was kind of all over him like a rash as an each way bet, and indeed I've got an each way bet on him from a while back. But the trouble is, if Scandinavia runs, is not so appealing as an each way bet, and I think he might drift in Scandinavia runs. So do you see what I mean? It's one of those things. Damned if you do, don't. I'll go neutral. If Scandinavia doesn't run, it'll be a question of how quickly I could get each way on Sweet William if I could still get something like 13 to 2, 6 to 1, but maybe I couldn't. I don't know. Yeah, I can't see him out of the 3 if Scandinavia doesn't run.
No, he's a very tough horse, and probably wasn't quite running to the best of his ability tactically in the Gold Cup. Was potentially there to help the Golden Horn breeding with Trawlerman, but yeah, hold fire on Sweet William, I suppose. Then there's a message when we see if Scandinavia runs or not. Next in the betting, we have got Sunway. Stepping up in trip, never quite been a Group 1 horse anyway, despite maybe being a bit of a sort of wise guy tip in a lot of big races. So looking to put him in the unattractive category.
Yeah, ditto. The one thing to say in his favour was he was second last time out of Goodwood behind Hamish, who's high class. But that was on soft ground. So that's my first objection. I think he wants soft ground. So I don't think he'll run. I don't think he'll run anyway because Gosden mentioning his stable, bullets for this meeting, mentioned Sweet William, mentioned Frenchmaster, didn't mention Military Academy. I'm not having a senior moment. It is Gosden.
Yeah, no, I was talking about Sunway.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I've moved on to Military Academy. I'm having a senile moment, just not the one I thought I was. God, okay, people thought, who's he talking about? Apologies. Sunway. Yeah, I can't quite go attractive yet. It's his only second try at at this at a long distance trip, isn't it? And he was only third in the ledger, not far behind Jan Bruegel in Illinois. That sort of rings alarms in one sense. Alarm bells sort of positive for him, but I'm not sure about the fast ground for him. And it's been such a long time since this guy's seen the William enclosure. He probably doesn't even know where it is. I'm hesitant. Unattractive, given that he's completely unexposed as a stare. But this is so deep, and there are so many good horses in there. It's going to be another 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, and no, I won't go there.
Yeah, he was. Yeah, he was only 11 3/4 behind Illinois, but he was. Yeah, so I'm probably doing too much of a disservice. But still, I don't fancy
that was
12.
Soft ground though, and I think that's what he wants.
Yeah, true. So next up, you got a sneak preview as to what Daniel thinks of Military Academy at 14s. You love him, right?
I loved his impressive soft ground second to Hamish, and that's the only thing I do love. Yeah. Don't think he'll run. Gosden didn't mention him in the stable tour, and no, on fast ground, he's just not. He's not good enough to compete with these. He's complete line of pink on Ozchecker, and I don't think it's because people don't like him. It's because everyone thinks he's not going to run.
Yeah, Trushan, similar story here.
You give me thunderstorms materializing between now and Tuesday. If I could see the prospect of them materializing, I'd go in and have some Trushan, just even if it's throwing my money away because the thunderstorms don't materialize. But without that, and it's good with good firm places, this horse will not run. I don't know how many times he's been withdrawn from races, more than any horse I can think of almost, between the 5-day and the 48 hours day.
Yeah. Okay. Dubai Futures next. A horse that we're both positive on in the Royal Ascot Gold Cup at 28. 40s for this, having finished third. I think this is probably definitely a weaker race than the Gold Cup. I'm pretty keen on Dubai Future at 40s. Definitely in the attractive camp.
Completely concur. He was really, really good twice in Meydan over the winter, and he came back and flopped. And it's very easy in situations like thinking, oh, Meydan form doesn't transfer. So he was a massive price for the Gold Cup, and we thought he was appealing for that, and recommended him each way at 40s. And guess what? He's in the Goodwood Cup and he's 40-1 again. He was third in that despite not wanting 2.5 miles. Now he's back to 2 miles. His Meydan form, the Meydan figures, time form figures, put him only a few pounds below the top two. 40s is too big. I will just say, I never get news flow from the Surah stable. I have no idea if this guy's turning up, but if he's been declared at 5-day stage, why wouldn't they?
Yeah.
Up, and I agree. Yeah, attractive. 40s place. Bet 365.
Yep.
And sorry, with the only thing we hadn't said, and possibly, and this is a really important point, if you like anything in this race each way, now is possibly the time to play. A couple of bookies are already 2 places. Trushan comes out if we expect, and one other comes out. You've got 7 runners with an odds-on favourite. There is no way in hell you're going to get 3 places. So act now if you like one each way, and we have both backed this one each way at 40s, I believe.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. We have excited about that bet. Epic Poet is next at 50s and subsequent at 66s. Given the shape of the each way market, potentially, do either of these two fit the bill as interesting outsiders?
Well, Epic Poet is a crucial mention because he's the difference between 9 runners and 10 runners as things stand. I don't think Epic Poet's running. So no one prices him up apart from the Flutter Pair, Paddy Power and Skybed. And I don't know why they think he's running, unless there's some supplement that they're aware of that I'm not aware of. So I don't think he's running. If he is running, suddenly a field of 9 becomes a field of 10, and then the chance of the dead 8 holding is higher. But yeah, no appeal, not good enough. And subsequent, just kind of roll your eyes when you see the entry kind of territory for this one. No appeal.
Yeah. Okay. No appeal, unattractive, huge unappealing, however you want to read into it.
I think it's owned by the Hayes. Sometimes they have a swing at a wild one. Maybe they're going to Goodwood that day one.
Okay, cool. Well, yeah, that is a look at every single horse in the Goodwood Cup. And to summarise, definitely sort of verging on very appealing for Dubai Future at 40s, 3 places each way before it hopefully cuts up to 7-runner race. Daniel was keen on Scandinavia at 7s.
High risk play advised. I mean, as in, beware, this would be a super high risk play. I have no idea.
I suspect Illinois will drift and become attractive. Frenchmaster, Brett Neutron. That is largely, and that is also it for the podcast. I hope you have enjoyed this format again. Again, please do let us know whether you prefer it or not. We like to be steered by what you guys are interested in and what engages you. And we are also definitely interested in what you have to say. As mentioned, final bit of admin before signing off is do check out the Twitter and the website. And then we'll hand over to you, Daniel, for any last words.
No, all good. Sorry, this has been quite a long one, 43 minutes. But a lot of horses to get through to 2 big races on Goodwood day 1.
Yeah. All right. We will be speaking to you within the next day or 2 about the Sussex Stakes. So look forward to catching up then. Bye.